Hey there, all you SAT takers. It's the Math Prepmaster here to explain the first 10 questions of the real October 2018 SAT calculator portion. Number 1. A helicopter initially hovering 40 feet above the ground begins to gain altitude at a rate of 21 feet per second. Which of the following functions represents the helicopter's altitude above the ground y in feet t seconds after the helicopter begins to gain altitude? Well, this is just the equation of a line starting at 40 feet. So that would be the y-intercept. If we start at 40 feet, this is our initial starting point. And every time that we gain altitude at 21 feet every second, 21 feet per second. So we would add 21 times the number of seconds. So when I said the equation of a line, this represents the equation of a line in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is your y-intercept. And the y-intercept is always the starting point, so in this case, they just did it a little out of order. That's the 40. And the slope is the increase that we get every time we move one unit up on the x-axis. In this case, that would be the amount of seconds t after the helicopter begins to gain altitude, and that would be here. So y equals 21 feet, so it's 21x plus 40, as we know. Answer choice B. And the level of difficulty from 1 to 10, based on students' ability to get the question correct without guessing, 1 being the easiest and 10 being the most difficult. This is a level 2. Let's go to number 2. A text messaging plan charges a flat fee of $5 per month for up to 100 text messages sent plus 25 cents for each additional text message sent that month. Which of the following graphs represents the cost y of sending x texts in a month? Let's look at the graphs below, and let's look at the pertinent, important information here. So for the first 100 text messages, there's a flat fee of $5. So even if you do any amount of text messages up to 100, like answer choice A, it's always going to be $5 for the first 100. So that should be a straight line for all the answer choices. And A is correct on that part. B is okay. Answer choice C must be incorrect because we're increasing. We do start at 5, which is correct, but we're increasing right off the bat our cost, and our cost does not increase until we get to 100 text messages. The x-axis represents the number of text messages. That would be incorrect, and D would be incorrect because, again, this has to be a straight line, a horizontal line here from x equals 0 to x equals 100 for the first 100 text messages. Let's look at the first two answer choices to see which one is correct by process of elimination here. Okay, so after the first 100 text messages, it's going to cost us 25 cents for each text message. So our cost is going to increase. So that would be answer choice A. Notice that it increases here as x gets larger, we increase, and answer choice B is incorrect because we decrease. It goes down after the 100 text messages. Pretty simple, but looking at the graph, we had to decipher which one it was. Level of difficulty, I'll give that a level 2.5. Let's go to number 3. Jake buys a bag of popcorn at a movie theater. He eats half of the popcorn during the 15 minutes of previews. After eating half of the popcorn, he stops eating for the next 30 minutes. Then he gradually eats the popcorn until he accidentally spills all of the remaining popcorn. Which of the following graphs could represent this situation? Okay, so let's look at the pertinent information again. He eats half of the popcorn, Jake, during the first 15 minutes. After eating half of the popcorn, he stops eating for the next 30 minutes. Then he gradually eats the popcorn until he accidentally spills. He gradually eats it, and then he spills the rest of the popcorn. So let's look at each of the answer choices below. Okay, so for answer choice A, Jake is eating the popcorn in the previews, and so that would decrease for the first 15 minutes. Notice the time on the x-axis. What are the units? The units would be 15 minutes because 2 spaces. If we go 2 spaces, 2 tick marks, each tick mark is 15 minutes. We know 2 is 30, half of 30 is 15. So at the 15-minute mark right here, it's going to decrease. That's good for all of these. It decreases the first 15 minutes. That's good. That's good. And answer choice D is incorrect because it increases the first 15 minutes. Okay, so after the first 15 minutes, Jake stops eating for 30 minutes. So the amount of popcorn in the bag for the next 30 minutes has to stay constant, which is going to be a horizontal line for 30 minutes. So this one's good. This one looks a little short, but maybe it's good. And this one looks good. So let's go to the next part of the question. Then he gradually eats the popcorn. He gradually eats it, so it's going to decrease. That's good. Decrease. C is not good here because it's increasing. You can't increase the amount in the bag if you're gradually eating the popcorn. So C is out. And by process of elimination, we're down to the last 2. At the end, Jake spills the rest of his popcorn. Answer choice A cannot be correct because if he spills his popcorn, the amount of popcorn in the bag would go immediately a straight vertical line down to 0, which would be answer choice B. A is incorrect. B is the correct answer. Fun question. Level of difficulty, we'll say that is a level 3.5. You had to go through that whole story to understand the graph. Let's go to number 4. If 20 minus x equals 15, what is the value of 3x? Okay. Looks like we have sort of a straight algebra question. If you wanted to do this really quickly, and that's what you do want to do on this test because it is timed, you could actually, you don't have to use algebra. 20 minus what number equals 15? X-axis would be 5. And then 3x would be 3 times 5, answer 15. Simple question. But I'm going to show you the algebra because this is a teaching video. To do the algebra, 20 minus x equals 15. We want to solve for x. There's actually a few ways to do this, but we'll try it this way. I'm going to add x to both sides. Add x to both sides of the equation. That cancels. So 20 equals 15 plus x. And then we'd subtract 15 from both sides of the equation. And we'd get 5. 5, I'll write it up here. 5 equals x, or x equals 5. And then we know 3 times 5 is 15. That's an easy question, in my opinion. Level of difficulty, level 2. Number 5. For the function f defined above, what is the value of f of negative 1? Just plug in the negative 1 for every place you see x in the equation. So f of negative 1 is how it's said. F of negative 1 equals negative 1, just replacing that for the x in the equation here, plus 3 over 2. Negative 1 plus 3 equals 2 over 2, which equals 1. On this question, it didn't matter that you use parentheses, but on these types of questions, make sure you do use the parentheses because they can give you an incorrect answer if you do not. Answer choice C. Simple question. Level of difficulty 2.5. A few of you may not know the concept. Hopefully you do. Let's go to number 6. Number 6. Which of the following is equivalent to 2x times x squared minus 3x? In this question, we have to distribute 2x times x squared. And when we multiply with variables, we add their exponents. So when there's no power here, x is considered to the first power. So it's going to be 2x to the third power because we add the exponents. 1 plus 2 is 3. Then we have to multiply the 2x times negative 3x because there's a minus sign in front of this. So that would be 2x times negative 3x. That's negative 6 because a positive times a negative is a negative. Negative 6, and x times x is x squared. And answer choice D. Level of difficulty, we'll say that one's a level 4. Let's go to number 7. A retail company has 50 large stores located in different areas throughout a state. A researcher for the company believes that employee job satisfaction varies greatly from store to store. Which of the following sampling methods is most appropriate to estimate the proportion of all employees of the company who are satisfied with their job? Well, this question is a sampling question. Most students have not taken a statistics class, which is kind of weird that the SAT focuses a few of their questions on statistics. But anyway, most of these questions are common sense, and most of you will get these correct just by using common sense. Let's look at the answer choices. Answer choice A, if we selecting one of the 50 stores at random and then surveying each employee at that store, well, that's not going to be appropriate because different stores, since the job satisfaction, it says in the story, the job satisfaction varies greatly from store to store. So if you did one store where they're all happy and then one store where they're all not happy, that's not going to work. Answer choice A is not correct. Let's look at answer choice B. Selecting 10 employees from each store at random and then surveying each employee selected. So if we selected 10 employees from each store at random and then surveyed each employee, that sounds pretty good. But let's look at the other answer choices to make sure that that's not the best response. Answer choice C says surveying the 25 highest paid employees and the 25 lowest paid employees. Well, that just cuts out all the middle employees, and that's not appropriate. That doesn't represent the population. It only represents part of the population. So let's look at answer choice D, creating a website on which employees can express their opinions and then using the first 50 responses. That's completely biased. Most of those employees would probably be dissatisfied employees that are throwing their negativity towards the company, I would think. So that's incorrect, and it's pretty easy just by common sense. Answer choice B, I'm going to give that a level 3. Way too much reading. Me. Let's go to number 8. The two graphs above show the total amounts of money that Ian and Jeremy each have deposited into their savings accounts for the first 7 weeks after opening their accounts. After they made their initial deposits, how much more did Ian deposit each week than Jeremy? So we want to know the amount that Ian and Jeremy deposit on a weekly basis. So looking at the graph, each week, the increase amount is the number that they deposit. The initial amount here, this is the Ian line here in purple, and the Jeremy line in red. Jeremy starts at 300. Ian starts at 100. The increase for Jeremy, every time we go up a week here, the x-axis is the number of weeks. Every time we go up 1 week, this looks like halfway between the lines. So two of those. So each one is 50. So Jeremy increases $50 per week. So that's how much Jeremy's depositing. Ian is depositing from the graph simply every week 100 because it goes up 100. He starts with 100 and puts 100 in every week. So they're not asking the total. They're just asking for the amount that each one deposits. 100 minus 50 would be the difference of $50. That would be the answer choice. Let's scroll down to look at the answer choices. $50 is answer choice C. Now another way to look at this, these are both equations of lines. The equation of Ian's line, his y-intercept is 100 and his slope is 100. So y-intercept equals 100. Slope equals 100. That's for Ian. For Jeremy, Jeremy starts at 300. J starts at 300. That's the y-intercept. And the slope for Jeremy was 50. So the two equations of lines, even though we don't need those for the question, Jeremy would be y equals 50x plus 300. And Ian would be y equals 100x plus 100. That's if you need the equation of the line in y equals mx plus b form. This is an easy question, just looking at the graph. All we had to do was find the slopes. And the difference is answer choice C, level of difficulty. Give that a level 4. Let's go to the next one. Number 9. The function h is defined above. What is h of 5 minus h of 3? The easiest way to do this is just plug in the numbers, but make sure when you do these questions, when you answer these questions, plug it in, use the parentheses. So first let's find h of 5 separately. H of 5. Plug that in. H of 5 equals 2. And every place we see x, we plug in 5 in parentheses. Now we get 2 to the 5th power, which is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is 32. Or on the calculator, 2 to the 5th power. Now let's find h of 3. H of 3, plug in 3 for x, equals 2 to the 3rd power, which is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. We get 32 minus 8. 32 minus 8 equals 24. Answer choice C. Pretty easy question. Level of difficulty, level 4. Let's go to number 10. A researcher surveyed a random sample of students from a large university about how often they see movies. Using the sample data, the researcher estimated that 23% of the students in the population saw a movie at least once per month. The margin of error for this estimation is 4%. Which of the following is the most appropriate conclusion about all students at the university based on the given estimate and margin of error? Another statistical question. This is based on sample data. So let's be logical here. Let's look at the answer choices. Answer A, it is unlikely that less than 23% of the students see a movie at least once per month. Well, it says that the researcher estimated that 23% with a 4% error, so that can go either way. That's possible, so that's definitely not the answer choice. A is definitely out. Let's go to B. At least 23%, but no more than 25% of the students see a movie at least once per month. Well, that can't be the answer either. It's 23%. It's a 4% in both directions. If we did that, it looks like it's going to be answer choice C if we went 4% in both directions. So answer choice B is out. And answer choice C says the researcher is between 19% and 27% sure that most students see a movie at least once per month. Well, that one makes no sense. The researcher is 19 to 27% sure. That doesn't even follow the story. They're talking about the students in the population that saw a movie once a month. So the researchers' thoughts really have nothing to do with this. So that can't be the answer. Hoping D is the answer because none of these can be. Let's scroll down to D. It is plausible that the percentage of students who see a movie at least once per month is between 19% and 27%. That's the answer. Most of the time, look for one in statistics. There's no definite thing. There's always like, it's always like it could be, it might be. So those are kind of clues on statistics-based questions if you don't have any idea how to answer it. Don't go for the one with the actual answer where it can't be definitely this answer or exactly this answer. And I'll give that one a level of difficulty. I'll say that's a level 5.5. Only because most of you have not taken a statistics class. Thank you, students, for watching. Thank you, Hanu Dixit, for your awesome tune, Motel Rock. And students, when you take your SAT, crush it.